Yeah, so we have this radio at the station here, and it picks up some weird channels.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you came on the screen. So yeah, this old busted up radio here.
Oh dang. Nice.
Have it at the station every once in a while. It comes on by itself.
Dang.
Yeah, it just started
radio.
playing that song, and then you came up on the screen.
That works out good. What's your YouTube your Facebook page called, the radio Facebook page? I'm following it, but I can't access it right now real quick.
Just search KBFT.
KBFT.
Yeah, it'll be like a red, black, and white logo with like a rice crop.
Anything else before KBFT?
No. You should just be able to type that in.
KBFT.
Yep. You could try radio at the end.
Oh, okay, there we go. Radio. Nothing. I'll just put KBFT radio. Sweet. Awesome. Cool. It's reshared on my page. Awesome.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, cool. Or you could try 89.9, KBFT 89.9.
Oh, yeah. Let me try that one.
But all right, welcome to KBFT Virtual Music Fest interviews, sponsored by KBFT 89.9 FM, Boys Fort Tribal Radio, and the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. And we're here today with singer, guitarist Cory Medina.
Hello.
I'd also like to mention his band, Corey Medina and Brothers. And we're going to talk about his upcoming performance this Saturday, May 8th at 7 p.m. And also this Sunday, May 9th, we're hosting with Brianne Marie and the Front Porch Singers for KBFT Virtual Music performances. And that'll be 7 p.m. right here on Facebook Live. And Cory Medina is a Native American blues musician from New Mexico, but has found his home here in Minnesota back in 2012. And they have an album called Better Days, and that was released in November 2019. And we're sitting here today with Cory. So I just want to say welcome, Bonjour, and thanks for chatting with us today.
Yes, thank you. Cory Medina shia ashihenishla na kay bashichin kiani dishiche na kay dishinella. My name is Cory Medina. I'm born for the Salt Rock clan, and I'm from Shiprock, New Mexico. Born and raised, and very thankful to the Anishinaabe folk up here, letting me come in with my loud Navajo rock and roll on their territory. So yeah, glad to be here with y'all.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And so you released an album, Better Days. Do you have plans for any new music coming up?
Yeah, definitely. We're really stoked for I don't know. It was cool being able to talk with Levi Patero last night. He got to just chop it up with him on Instagram last night. It was really cool. Just nerding out again about shows and stuff, and talking another songwriter. I haven't really been able to talk to too many songwriters lately, at least about writing songs in a pandemic. So But one thing that's cool about darkness and blues and crap that we go through is that, man, we can't reach growth, and we can't reach those good things in life until we go through some of those things. And so I'm really praying that a lot of good music comes out of this. And thankfully, I'm very thankful. Once the new year came, songs have been kind of flooding out of me in a good way. So it's been really cool, and it really just kind of reflects too of where our sound is and where I'm at, and kind of in my personal life healing, and trying to hoping that that people who relate can find some sort of encouragement in it as well. So, but we got some new music coming out. We have a lot, and it's just finding time to do it. And I know, and that's where a lot of bands are too, especially bands who were probably trying to get ready to cut a record before the pandemic. So right now we're just in a phase of like, all right, we have all these songs that we were going to drop before the pandemic. So now we're like, all right, so we're just splitting up songs, and we're really excited nonetheless to get them out. But it's just funny because of some of that new music that people haven't heard yet is a reflection now of like what we used to sound like before the pandemic. And it's not bad, and we still can sound like that. We still do sound like that, but um if you listen to Better Days, the song Too Green to Burn, we learned that the night before we went to the studio to record the whole album. And it shows that out of the whole album, that's the song that has I feel like the kind of it stands out the most, and it has this real cool, a little more mature sound to it. So, and I feel like that's some of the stuff that we got coming out this year will sound like. And so yeah, so yes, we did, to answer your question. Yes, we do have new music coming out. If you go to our Facebook, our YouTube, and our Instagram, um you can see two new songs that we just posted. Very thankful to the Current for hitting us up and letting us be part of their Sounds Like Home series. So we released a live version of two new songs, one called Repo and one called 1974. So yeah, but we got plenty more coming. So right now it's just trying to. Geez, sorry, one of my guitars just fell over. Scared the crap out of me. Right now, just trying to navigate producers and where to record and just stuff like that. So, but yeah, we got stuff coming, and we're excited.
Awesome. Yeah, it's that ghost behind you. I think it's that guitar wants to be played. You know we're talking about music, so I got excited to jump to
I
it.
think so. I think so, man. I think so.
Yeah, play me.
I can do that. I can do that.
So yeah, man, it seems like you're everywhere. Everywhere I look, it's Cory Medina, especially in Minnesota. I turned on I have just an antenna hooked up to my TV at home, and I turned on one of the public stations, and you came on there. I was like, no way.
Oh, that's super cool. No, I'm very blessed, man. Minnesota's been really good to me. And um it's cool being native, and I'm sure you can relate to, like, when you get to our age, it's kind of like you understand why elders kind of told us, like, man, like, go out and go travel, go see things, so you can. And it's not just so it's not just so our auntie and mom can flex, like, oh, my sonny boy does this. It's so we can obtain, like, just kind of other perspectives of different cultures. And that's what it's been like for me here in Minnesota. It's been just really, oh man, learning so much from y'all. And it's been so good for me. It's breaking me in a good way. And I think a lot of people, with the shift of kind of like the tone of social issues and things like that, I think a lot of us are kind of um pushing towards growth and trying to find any sense of unity in any way, but that's healing for everybody, not just one specific person. But Minnesota has been really kind of, I don't know, I feel like for some reason, I feel like, I don't know if it's just because we live here, but I feel like Minnesota has kind of been on the map in the lead in some of that, and some of the things going on. So but yeah, I'm learning a lot from Minnesota, and especially northern Minnesota has been really good to my music. Like I said, all these northern tribes taking me under the wing. The community of Bemidji has been been very supportive. So very thankful to continue to be growing with this community as well, representing my people down south. So Very, very thankful.
Yeah, well, you're definitely in a good state for music. I mean, there's all kinds of great musicians locally
Yeah,
from Minnesota, man. We have like one of the best states uh for music. And
definitely.
so where can we find you and your music again? You have your website, corymedina.com. You're on YouTube. So just search for Cory Medina. Spotify.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's. Oh man, I really look forward to the time when like our stuff's all organized. And I think anybody who's been following me for even more than a year will probably know that like, oh man, like we're a live band, and I see so, and a really, man, shout out to all the bands who are really good at organizing their content as far as making it as accessible as possible. And there's constant tools coming out to make things easier and more accessible for people to get to their music. But for me, I'm just kind of burnt out as far as like, I'm sure you get this way, especially working in radio. Like you just, man, you just got to turn off the radio, and you just gotta like, and I mean, and it's not a bad thing. There's sometimes where when you're just so surrounded and engulfed in music, especially as a musician too, man, there's times you just need some peace, or you need to listen to something that's totally opposite of what you even play, just to get a little bit of a break from it. But anyways, so I kind of have a hard time keeping track of, like I said, like new songs and things like this. But thankfully, right now we just have everything kind of funneling into our YouTube and our Spotify. Spotify is kind of the only place where we can like get our album to like just kind of a more mass audience, to where it's like getting on playlists and stuff. Even though I haven't even tried to do that at all. But YouTube for me is the kind of the it's just kind of the most neutral place where people can find music. And it's, even though I pay for a premium Spotify, I also pay for and I sound bougie now. I feel all bougie. I pay for YouTube Premium, and it's worth it, man. If you got the extra $10 a month, YouTube Red and YouTube Premium, so worth it, because you can listen to it just like you do Spotify, as far as go shuffling through apps while music's playing, and then you can find music on there that you can't find on Spotify either. So YouTube, Cory Medina, is probably our main place. You can find a lot of our latest content. Just because I like to dabble in videography, and we do a lot of our production in house, and we're kind of seeing within the industry that you can actually grow without that like label backing. Even though with that label backing and that kind of funding, it is a little difficult for for local bands to, man, put all that stuff together and make a team effort, try to get graphics and staying up late, figuring out Googling Photoshop and video editing stuff, So I think with getting content accessible for bands is really important, but also I think we also need to just keep it simple. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I have the same issue, I mean, because I run my own band. I do everything,
mm-hmm.
do
Yeah,
all my promo, and the music is the part I really, really enjoy. I love creating the music. I love listening to music. I love working at a radio station, but when it comes to like creating and promoting, like I'm horrible. Like, I'd rather just play the music, write the music, and then just give it off to somebody else to promote it. But
yeah,
being a local musician, you kind of have to just juggle everything at the same time, and do it all yourself.
definitely. Yep, yep, definitely. And I'm there too, like being I don't know, kind of, especially being like kind of the front man in a sense. And you're the leader. You're the band leader, and it's a big responsibility, and I feel like it's a responsibility that a lot of young folks kind of don't realize they're taking on when they get in front of a band and they're leading a band. And it's you're not just the pretty boy, you're not just the pretty face, you're like you got to protect everybody behind you, not just musically, but like all around. Make sure they're getting paid, make sure they feel comfortable, make sure they're in the right mood to play some music behind you and with you. So no, definitely, it's I don't know, and I really feel like musicians like that really make good music too, because they're grinding, and we can't stop, and there's this year's been really tough for a lot of artists and musicians, where it makes we almost had too much time to think, where it's like, oh well, maybe after this is all over, maybe I should go to college, or maybe I should go pick up a trade, and maybe I should put the guitar down, And it's like we got to balance all that stuff out. We got to balance everything out. And for me, I'm just really glad that me and you and people like us have know what it feels like to create that, and to have those moments where you're putting out something and then someone's receiving it at the same time, and you're just experiencing this cool, I don't know, this cool connection. So and I think with that, and with all the stuff going on right now, I think live music's going to be even better as we go forward. For now, it's going to be all corralled and stuff, but we gotta be diligent. We gotta have some fortitude. So not everything's easy, but we can do it to help each other out. So and good job. I see a lot of the stuff that you put out on your stuff too. It's really cool, and I totally get the grind. And I respect that, man. Every time I see people putting out stuff like that, I can tell where it's like, man, these people are grinding on their own. They're doing their own stuff, and they're seeing it the way they want to see it. They're growing the way they want to grow, and they don't got anybody pushing them. And yeah, so but yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool seeing what you got going on. And then, like, do you play both guitar and drums?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because when I met you, you were a drummer, and then all of a sudden but you play guitar too, right? But you play guitar in your current band, right?
Yeah. I play guitar, sing, play drums.
That's crazy. That's awesome, man. That's yeah. So working at a radio is perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Plus produce all of it, and
Yeah, that's super cool, dude.
But yeah, nowadays I have a full-time job. There's other life things, I have a kid, and
yeah,
life. It makes things hard.
Definitely.
But music and culture is my passion.
Yes.
And
Likewise.
I'm gonna stand behind that 100%. But yeah, I mean, I found you, and man, you're just an awesome guitar player, and your voice is so unique. It's like a one of a kind. How did your music career begin, and how did you find out that you had these talents?
I guess it all started in my fam. There's no musicians in my family. The only musician in my family, my immediate family, is my grandfather, and he plays harmonica. But he never like played in bands or anything. He worked away from home all week, then was home on the weekends, and then but when he was out on the job, he worked construction, and he would play harmonica on the CB for all the truckers, and everyone would like tell him to keep playing, and so it was cool. So my grandma would tell me stories, but then eventually he had a stroke, and then he couldn't play no more. So, and I remember hearing that, but by the time I was like able to remember what type of music that was playing around me, I don't think my grandpa was really playing anymore. And so, but it really just came from blues. It came from the blues. It came from my family listening to blues and relating to the blues. We just love it. Music was always playing everywhere. My grandparents just always listened to like Johnny Pride and Johnny Horton, and just cool things like that on the AM radio. My mom listened to like ZZ Top, and a little bit of West Side Connection and stuff like that. But then my uncles were the biggest influence in my life as far as music, and they listened to the blues, man. They listened to like BB King. My uncle took me to my first BB King concert. That was really cool when I was in high school. So it just progressed from there. And my mom got me a guitar when I was really young, an electric guitar. But like I said, there's nobody in my family to teach us, and we're on the res, so it's not like you can just go down the street to the local guitar lesson store. So we don't have that. So eventually I just carried. By the time I was in junior high, it was cool to bring your guitar to school, even if you don't know how to play it. So I brought my guitar to school, and one of my teachers saw me posing being a poser with my little electric guitar, and he taught me some riffs. And man, from there, as soon as you feel yourself play that first riff, man, you just take off. And then I learned the 12-bar blues, and then yeah, it was pretty cool. So then through high school, thankfully I was able to link up with some cats who also like playing blues guitar, because everybody just likes playing metal, which is cool. I played in a metal band. I love metal. I love it. But I got picked on a lot though, because I played blues and I listened to blues from all my metal bros. And I'm like, man, come on, like this is cool. Like, let's do a side project. They're like, nah. So I was always trying to play with people in my town, but no one was really down with it. So, but thankfully during that time, my involvement with church was really strong on my reservation, and Navajo Christianity is really different. It's kind of something of its own. It's almost like a faith of its own. It's just Navajo being the biggest reservation. That's kind of the biggest spiritual foundation, I guess, that we find ourselves all kind of leaning on as far as a spiritual support and a spiritual um, thing to lean on and pray to. So while I was engulfed in all that in high school, growing in my music, I was also really involved in church and actually playing lead guitar for a worship team. Learning how to, and that's where I learned how to. That's where I learned how to play with the band. For 9 years, we traveled reservation to reservation. Not going around to like convert. Like I said, it was like what we did was different, man. It was and the music we were playing was cool. It was like cool contemporary music. Um, Granted, I like 3-chord gospel too, but we're going reservation to reservation, like just singing songs of hope and just letting people know that that they don't have to be stuck in their circumstances of whether it's lostness or depression or even where they're at, and just trying to just be some source of light, and that's where I kind of learn how to okay, this is not a good time to play solo, or like, all right, the singer's kind of like talking right now. He feels led to kind of say something to these people who feel like they're kind of hurting right now. So it's like, I'm gonna turn down my guitar a little bit. Like, all right, the drummer's building up right now. Oh shoot, okay, I better get ready. Big bang coming, things like that. So really, lot of the fundamentals that I learned was in church, and it was really cool because in church, when you play in church or any type of faith-based community, you got to be humble. You can't be prideful, and if there is pride there, it's got to be from God, and it's got to be like righteous pride, not about you, or you're lifting up something bigger than you, not yourself. So that's what I was all engulfed in, like learning blues and learning rock, learning how to write songs. So then when I'm out here on my own, there's a lot of good to that, but also now, like, I don't think very highly of myself anymore. And I'm always putting myself down, and but in a way though, like I also know that, like, there was always room to grow. So I was very fortunate that I had church to kind of, and people in church to really disciple me musically and spiritually. And then I moved up here, and I had a band down in the Navajo reservation. I was getting ready to gig down there, and I moved up here in my early 20s. Kind of started over, and I went to open mic, and bam, right away I just got introduced to this like blues folk community that I've never been exposed to, and it was amazing. Like, for the first time, like after years of trying to play with, come on man, let's play some blues, get on the drums, man, play this on bass, play some blues, man. Years of that, and then finally I show up to Bemidji, and then just bam, like, I don't know, it was just this cool, like, and a lot, and the two brothers that I play with now were part of that crew who in the beginning where it's like, whoa, this like cool, let's jam, like this guy vibes with us, and everybody's like 30, 40 years older than me, and it was really cool. That was my introduction to this town and my career. And then while I was building my career there, I was working for a nonprofit in the town, a community service place that kind of, I ran a program that helped just help teens who were struggling with alcoholism and just partying too much and things, like just getting in trouble. So I was working with people like that while kind of growing in my own. I was no longer a part of my band no more. I was actually, I was like building the Cory Medina brand. It was weird in the new town, but just very fortunate all the ways that I was able to kind of get to know the town through my nonprofit job, and then get exposed to this cool music community right away that's been holding it down here for the past 40-50 years. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, bam, I'm my first kid, and I'm a full-time musician, and it was pretty scary. We moved out of this nice house that we were renting, and we moved in with friends. We're very thankful to our friends, Chelsea and Chad, let us move into their basement. Just because being a musician, we knew that our rent money in being in a university town, man. Oh, rent is to rent like a 2-3 bedroom house, it's an arm and a leg. So yeah, so and that was the beginning, and it was, and I'm still here in this town, and and it's cool because now regionally things are starting to like our music and message is starting to get out there a little more. You know, the currents picked us up now, so just things like that, and um, that's kind of like been the progression of someone going from like community outreach to full-time musician. And I didn't think I was going to be a full-time musician until I was like 40, because I wanted to have a job, get a house, make sure I save up at 401k, make sure I have this amount of money before I go full-time music. And that's a good plan. It's good. There's times I really wish I did that before, way ahead of time. And then it's good to have plans like that. But for me and my faith, and it's just like, once you know your calling, there's no way around it. There's no way around it. It's almost like a creator given mandate that you're meant to do this. So but yeah, I don't know. So being a career musician is really weird, because you have to put your heart on the stick in front of people sometimes. And for me, it's all the time, just because, like you said, what were some of those, how did I know that I had those talents? It's like it comes out of pain. I didn't know I could sing the way I do, because I was always scared. I was like trying to singing under my breath. But finally, like, one time I was in my church, and I just like, rah! I just screamed out and tried to hit, and was confident, and not really confident, but just I was just hurting, and I just wanted to feel that note that I hit, and I had to kind of scream, and I hit it, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, cool. This is what I like." Cracked the code a little bit, and
I could,
ever since then, man, it's haven't stopped.
wow, I could sing.
Yeah, definitely, and it's been cool. It's been a hell of a ride, man, and I'm sure you can relate. Like I said, being a career musician, and especially with kids too. Because once you got kids, man, it's like the balance is on, because nothing else matters. But your all your ego, everything. Man, that doesn't matter when it comes to those kids. So that's another thing as well. That really helps keep me accountable too, and makes me work that much harder. And knowing that I don't have to really worry about the same temptations that I had when I was a younger man, just because now, man, I got my own, to look after. So,
Mhm.
so it's been a cool ride, and I really encourage anybody, just, man, not to be scared to take that leap, because there's always seasons when we might change occupations, we might change careers, we might change locations, and that's all right. But as long as we know it's for the better, and we're growing with it, it's cool. But for now, I think I'm gonna be a career musician for the rest of my life. So
Yeah, well, you're definitely there. I mean,
thank you.
but yeah, you pretty much answered all my questions all in that one.
sorry, sorry about that.
It's okay. You have any words of encouragement for upcoming musicians and artists who want to get started? I know you hit on a lot, and getting preparing yourself, financially, mentally, those are all good issues. Is there something more um, that we can encourage the youth into?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're always learning, man, and one of the things that's really kept me there's a lot of things that kept me afloat, but one of the biggest things, and man, this is something that we kind of forget, because it's something I touch on a lot when I talk about upcoming musicians and young musicians, is that we get so enamored with, like, and it's awesome. Like, I love rock and roll, and we get so enamored with like Jimi Hendrix and Van Halen as good, awesome stuff, and we see them, like we see Angus Young doing the spins, and we see the guitar swirls, and but what we don't realize is that, man, they were the ones first one, like a lot of like that, like 40s. And well, granted, Charlie Patton, who's native, was one of the first guitarists to ever like throw his guitar up and catch it, way back in Delta Blues days. But what we don't realize is that they took a leap of faith to do that weird thing with their instrument, and it was freaking legendary, and it changed the world musically in so many ways. With the way Angus Young was just spinning around, and Jimi Hendrix lighting the guitar on fire or humping his amp with his guitar, and but what we don't realize is that that's their personal art, and they took a leap of faith to be like, man, I don't care if I'm weird. This is what I feel, and I'm gonna do it. Granted, if you're like dancing and punching girls coming on stage, you're a piece of shit. But excuse my language. But guys like that, and what I'm getting at is that we just got to learn how like learn our art too, like learn, let that influence us, but also man, be humble. Let's be humble and just let our artistry come out and not be scared to not be scared to try something that's going to look or sound different than what's cool and what even we think is cool, because there's a lot of things that I don't think are cool that I ended up playing or singing because it just felt so good. And I'm like, man, like 2 or 3 years ago I probably wouldn't have played this style because I was too scared, because it sounded like this Nickelback song I heard today, and it just sounded too much like it, so I don't want to do it. And there's songs like I feel like would have been really monumental in my songwriting career that I purposely didn't finish or didn't write because I was too scared, because I thought someone thought it was going to sound like a Britney Spears song, or like, oh man, that little note bend sounds like this Christina Aguilera song. Oh, then. So biggest thing is for upcoming artists is like, man, people cling on to a message, people cling on to relate, people cling on to authenticity. And there's going to be plenty of people out there who are gonna who maybe even play my cover songs, who play your cover songs, who might even cover some Levi Platero down the road. And there's those bands out there who just love to play music no matter what, because it just makes them feel good, even if it's just one time a week in their accountant or their whatever, and so they just gig. But yeah, the biggest thing is just being ourselves and just be humble, like, because if we're looking too much at all like what all these other guys got, like right now, like for me, I look at Jim Morrison and I look at his personal life as an artist, and man, it seems kind of hard. Like it's kind of like you watch that Val Kilmer movie on The Doors. It's kind of depressing, and I'm like, man, like this is like one of the like vocally, he's like, I look up to him a lot. Just how he can use that real deep voice and but still kind of have this bluesy sound is really cool.
I love Doors, man. They're like one of my favorite,
Yeah.
like, ever. Like they're such a an inspiration. Their music, but I don't condone what they did at all. And
No,
I
definitely, definitely.
I, I really don't see how they can do all that, perform like that when they're under the influence. I just
Yeah.
don't get it.
Yeah, and that's where that's just and when you think about it, like people like the Doors and that era, they're our parents' age. And even in that sense, we need to realize like kind of like how like all right, like like our generation, like I really feel like our generation is putting a kink in the cycle of alcoholism, and I or and then the kink in drug addiction. I feel like and right now we're working extra hard to put a kink in a suicide and missing and murdered Indigenous women. We're trying to put a kink in all these things in our families, that we've all dealt with as a community, as a Native Indigenous community, the struggle, and anybody, any community that deals with struggle as a whole. um I got lost in train of thought. No, but the Doors. Um, Anybody who goes through struggle realizes that um, that people like the Doors and people who go through the era and people like our parents, we don't have to go through those same things that they did. And that's something that our grandparents and parents tell us all the time. Our elders, and we roll our eyes at it all the time. And now, I'm in my 30s, and I'm like, oh man, I get it. Like I get what they were saying. Granted, we can take it with a grain of salt now because we had it possibly majority of us have had it better than our parents. I know I've had it better than my parents, way better than my parents. So, now that I'm older and I have my own kids, I can heed to what they say, what they warn me about. So, and as musicians, we need to do the same thing and not forget that this isn't another dimension that doesn't get touched by our personal life. It does. And we can do it different. We can be rock stars and badass fathers at the same time. You know what I mean? We can be rock stars and have amazing marriages at the same time, but we don't know what it looks like because we had to see all the Jimi Hendrixes and all the Doors and all the Jim Morrisons go through all the stuff they had to make this beautiful art. So I think that's one thing artists right now just need to realize. And I think, and it can be kind of sad a little bit. It's something that I went through last year as far as like realizing like, man, I don't have anybody to look up to anymore as far as like what are some of those standards. I don't see any, you don't see any two young, really famous, really cool rock bands who like have healthy marriages. You don't see too many of those, at least the successful ones. So now I'm like, but what it also did is gave me a clean slate. Like, oh, dope. I'm writing history as we go. Like we're writing history right now. Like, man, like we're living through a pandemic. We are living through history. So, and I think that's one thing that I can end this note on is that if there is that kind of depressing feeling like, oh, okay, like maybe I shouldn't have been looking up to those people, but it's like, no, like learn from them, but also make your new thing that's going to inspire the next generation to be even healthier than we were. And it's all about growth. So all the young musicians out there, just, man, like be yourself, and like, just, man, humbleness will get you a long way. But also take care of yourself. And I don't mean humbleness like, don't just be like talking trash about yourself anytime someone gives you a compliment. No, like humbleness, just like be cool. Don't, if someone's better than you, man, praise them for it. Say, man, you're dope. Like you're a better guitar player. Like, man, I used to be jealous of Levi Patero when we first met when I was in high school. And I was, do you know Levi Patero? Have you
No,
heard of Levi Patero? He'd be a really cool addition. I'll give you his info. He's a blues rock prodigy. He's younger than me. He's a Navajo blues rock prodigy. He's kind of like a Navajo SRV. He can play the SRV style. He's a good singer. But at the age I picked up the guitar, he was already playing state fairs in New Mexico with his dad. So this, he's really good. And I remember crossing paths with him, and man, I was really jealous of him. Really just, But now he's one of the coolest dudes I know, and man, we can't wait to go on tour with each other after the pandemic. And that's just how you grow with each other. That's how you put a kink in those cycles of like the battle of the bands. Battle of bands is cool because you get to meet other bands and you just get to show off your stuff and just. But being on the Reds, when I been with some battle of bands, man, it's not so nice. Everyone's just out to get each other and put each other down and talk shit about each other. So it's just like, man, so humbleness can take you a long way. So just be humble in your craft and continue growing your craft. And if you have something to say that really means something to people will, cling on. And if you don't see anybody clinging on, if you don't see anybody really lifting you up, then yeah, then those are some of those reflections that every artist has to go through. We've all played to an empty room. We've all hyped up shows and hardly anybody came. We've all had those. We've all had those humble moments in our life in any craft, whether it's a school play, whether it's a baseball game, whether it's a show at downtown bar. We've all had those humble moments, but we need those moments. We need to be humble so we can learn. We can learn how to serve people. Because if we're not trying to serve people, if we're not trying to put out music that really receive well, then it's like, yeah, then people aren't going to cling on to you. Your band might not get that far. you know, but if you have something that people can really use that'll distract them just for a little bit and put them in a vibe that way that either makes them nod their head, makes their booty shake, makes their tears come out, even that's a good thing, then it's like, those are the things. But man, yeah, but if it's just about, money and sex and pride and ego, then it's like, yeah, you might get a few good songs, but as far as community goes, there's no community in that. And personally, you just see nothing but fires trying to get put out, in that kind of lifestyle. So, and I think that's something that me and you and our generation can do different. So I look forward to seeing, your junior high school kids hanging out, VIP, backstage at your shows too, and so that's something we can all do together. And something for these young cats coming up who need some role models. And not that we're perfect, we'll never put ourselves out there to be that perfect or anything like that, but at least we can say, man, we're grinding to be the healthiest we can be, for our people and for our families. So yeah, sorry about that
those are,
lengthy
those
talk.
are awesome words. Those are a lot of things that I promote myself
Yeah.
when I represent my band, and just positivity, being humble, not being jealous of other people. If you live your life good, well, good things are going to happen. You don't have to go out and do drugs and party all night to achieve
Mhm.
success. Or I think those things kind of tear people down
Yep.
rather than build them up. But anyways, I just want to end with what can we expect on the performance this Saturday?
Yeah. Um, I'll be shooting it in our studio. Well, my bass player studio. Um, I'll be playing a good probably 3 or 4 new songs that aren't recorded, and then a lot of stuff that I've been really just kind of something that my producer here in town that's been really encouraging me to do, and I'm glad that I have people like him who know how to shoot my pride down when I need it, but also know how to encourage me in my artistry. So he's been kind of just encouraging me to just not scared to be an artist, and just not scared to just let my voice, or my artistry go kind of where it wants to without having to worry about if someone can dance to it or not, you know what I mean? Or if someone's gonna think it's cool or not. So usually when I play solo or things like that, that's usually where I could go with it, and that's where I feel like people can connect with my message a little more, just because it is so intimate. So so I'll be playing both electric and 12 string that night. Acoustics hardly something I hardly do, but it's something I do a lot in songwriting. So now I'm starting to do a little more in public. So yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to the show. And check it out here again, Facebook Live, KBFT Facebook Live, and sponsored by KBFT 89.9 FM, Voice for Tribal Radio, and the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Go to Cory Medina's Facebook page, give him a like. Also, check him out on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Also, check KBFT out on YouTube and Facebook. And I just want to say thanks again, Cory, for chatting with us today, and we will see you on Saturday.